Peter Newbold is the GM of PGG Rights and Real Estate. Let's take our monthly look at the state of the rural market. A lot of interest in this slot monthly. And Peter, are we seeing the emergence of corporate investors back into farming?
Yeah, it's interesting, Jamie. Yes, we are. We're actually seeing, I guess, a range of a whole lot of purchases at the moment. We've had, in the last probably 3 months, we've had more variety. We've had corporates, large entities, investors, neighbours. So we haven't had that sort of situation probably, I believe, for 3 or 4 years. So it's really strong in that respect. And, personally, I believe it'll continue on. So it's a very positive thing for all.
Now, it's all very well wanting to invest in a farm to get a return because you don't get much of one at the bank these days. But for that to happen, we're talking big dollars, Peter. Are the banks playing ball when it comes to rural lending?
In my opinion, I believe they are up to certain thresholds. Just with what's being sold at the moment, and, we've got to remember we've come off a low base. But it's definitely up. It's the best 3 or 4 months we've had, as I said, for 3 or 4 years. So definitely there's been some loosening. And I just think overall people are looking at the rural sector as a positive place to go to. And I think it's pretty hard not to agree with that. And that's the signs we're seeing at the moment. And really in all sectors, sheep and beef is probably the real standout. Hort's probably struggling with listings. And we're just starting to see some dairy. So I think it's a really good space for rural New Zealand.
It was interesting when we spoke a month ago about horticulture. I think your man who sells all the kiwi fruit farms in the Bay of Plenty, Stan Robb, said there was a queue 50 deep to line up for a kiwi fruit property that was up for grabs.
Yeah, look, and it hasn't changed. I guess those that are in that sector at the moment, why would you sell? That's one argument. But there is a lot of demand out there, and it's not just with individuals, but investors and large groups. So, again, that's a really positive sign for our industry that we operate in.
Dairy farming's been in a bit of a rut in terms of people getting into the industry in recent times. It hasn't been seen as the best bet. But you're telling me there is some movement there now?
Yeah, definitely there's some movement. Not big numbers, but definitely there's some movement. And I think, we're moving through that piece where everybody was so negative towards that group. And so we're seeing now an increase in it. And, if you're not too highly geared, there's big returns, or not big, that's probably, I say, good returns. So, look, I think it's a sector that is probably just, I think there's a bit of upward movement there when you look at where the values are.
Peter, one sector that has done well out of COVID is the lifestyle sector, because people are wanting to get out of the cities and get a bit of space around them. Is that still going strong?
Yeah, look, it's unbelievable at the moment. And, expectations, you're taking a property to the market, whether it's a auction or whatever, is what's being achieved is a lot higher than, I guess, we anticipate. And at the moment, if you've got a reasonable property, it's sold really quickly. So, a lot of people are wanting to move to what I call that provincial New Zealand, where you have a little bit of space, a bit of land, and, with people now options of, working from home and the like, there's big demand. So, it's probably the strongest again. We've seen it in a number of years, and it's not going to slow down when you look at interest rates. Property's
in a good space, full stop at the moment, Peter. There's a lot of interest in it. People are reverting to type and going with a good, solid investment. And I guess in this day and age, property's about as good as it gets.
Well, you're not producing any more of it, and we know if you look back in history, it's always been a safe bet. And so, I think it'll continue on. And I guess one thing, if you're in for the long haul, the risk is less. So, look, I think it's in a wonderful space at the moment.
And you can look at all those wonderful PGG rights and properties of the week. They are all on our website, thecountry.co.nz. Click on Rural Properties. Peter Newbold, we'll catch you again next month.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Have a good afternoon.